All right. All right, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to our live coaching call. Gavin will be on in just a minute. It's my fault that he's not here. I sent him the link to get on it like in the last minute. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, we're getting a bunch of people come on. Hope you're doing well. What we're going to do here, let me see if Gavin's here yet. Hold on a second. Yes, there he is. Let's bring him on.
How you doing?
Gavin. Awesome, man. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
All right. Let's get started. I think we're all live. First thing, hey, everybody. Welcome. How you doing? Joe McCall in St. Louis, Missouri. Gavin from, where are you right now, Gavin?
I'm in England, in the Midlands. So right in the middle of the country, nowhere near sea.
No. This is where you're from, right?
Yeah.
Good, good. And right now it's a record-setting temperature of like, what, 95 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that?
Yeah. It's like 94. It's the hottest day of the year. And they say that maybe in parts of the country it could be the record. But I don't know if they'll get it. But it's hot enough with no AC. I can put
So,
it
like,
that way.
here's a crazy thing. Nobody in England has air conditioning except maybe the stores and the malls or whatever. So it's just crazy. So everybody feels sorry for Gavin. Say, oh, I'm so sorry. It's 95 degrees. Everybody say they're sorry. So, hey, everybody, welcome. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're from. We've got people here saying hello right now from YouTube and from Facebook. Hey, Calvin. Hey, Graylin. Amtech and the Rehabbing and High Heels show. That must be a lady. Yes. Here we go. We got another one. Gavin's high.
Thanks, guys.
It's a big deal. You know, if you go to the news, it's on the front page right now of how hot it is in Paris. It's 108 degrees in Paris right now. So, guys, tell us where you're from. Tell us, say, hey, let us know where you're from. This coaching call here is our free coaching call. We do it this is our second or third one. Gavin and I like doing these things because we want to tell you guys, we just want to give you a little taste of what's actually in our coaching program and how we work with our clients. We help them solve their biggest challenges. We help them evaluate deals, and we help them get going and get started to do deals in the quickest, fastest, easiest way possible, right? And Greg from Trenton, New Jersey. We were just talking to a client today from New Jersey. And we've got Max from Chicago. What's up? Chris from Indiana. Graylin, love Detroit. And Graylin is a great friend of ours too. Hey, man. Somewhere in Africa doing deals in Indianapolis. This is Amtech. Well, hey, man, welcome. This is amazing. That's cool. This is Steel Magnolia from Texas. Eric from Philly. Love Philadelphia. So that's two people from Pennsylvania so far. Yeah. Well, that's one. Pennsylvania's right next to Jersey, so never mind.
Yeah.
Calvin from South Florida. Stephanie from Denver. How you doing, guys? And Gold Bar, Washington. We're at 68 degrees right now.
Sounds amazing.
Washington, 68 degrees right now. Right now, it's 81 degrees in St. Louis. We did have 110 heat index the other day. All right, so guys, what we're going to do here is we asked everybody to submit in advance any questions that they had. Houston, Rehabbing and High Heels. Welcome, Houston. And then Jim from Minneapolis. Welcome, man. Glad you're here, Jim. Okay, so this is our free coaching call. And we asked everybody to submit some of their challenges, their biggest challenges. And they did. And we're going to go through those first as we go along here. But we want to encourage you guys, as we're going along, this is going to be an interactive call, maybe an hour. maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. But type in your questions in the chats in the comments, and do me a favor. Like when I give you a link or a URL, if you can type them in the comments as well, I'd appreciate it. That way people don't have to type it down. They can see it in the comments, maybe click on it themselves. Okay. And like the first thing I want to tell you, here's this link. So somebody type this in the comments, please. joemccall.com/apply. Gavin and I have been coaching together for about 3 years now. And it's been amazing. Like when I first got started coaching, it was more just, okay, this is advice. Like we would talk to them and tell them what to do, right? And that worked well, but people were still struggling to get started. And they were struggling with some of the most simple, basic things like building their systems out and getting their marketing started and having a hard time coming up with a marketing plan and which lists should I target and how do I find a VA and which CRM should I use? How should I set up my websites and all that stuff? So Gavin and I decided, you know what? Let's just do it for them. Let's get them set up. Let's do it for them. Let's get them into St. Louis or wherever, and let's do a 2-day implementation workshop where we will actually like roll up our sleeves and just implement this stuff for them. So it's not a complete done for you thing. It's done with you. And we set it up, twist the, like the dial thing so that it builds up and then it goes, whatever you call that thing, like a car, so let's just get it set up for them so they can get to where they want to go faster and easier than if they were to try to do it on their own. And so we only work with a few handful of clients, maybe once a month, once every 2 months. We do a 2-day workshop where we get you all together. We've got 10 to 12 people in there. And we're going to set up your stuff for you. And we're going to, in that 2-day workshop, actually give you leads. And right then and there, we're going to get leads. We're going to get the system set up. We're going to get the marketing going. We have clients that leave that 2-day workshop with leads and appointments waiting for them at home. It's just crazy. Yeah. So we're going to set up the CRM. We use something called REI Simple, which is amazing. We're going to get the marketing list. We're going to schedule out. We're going to do the skip tracing. We're going to give you a virtual assistant to do the cold calling. We're going to go out, scrape Zillow and Craigslist for you. We're going to show you how to send out the texts in REI Simple. It just takes a couple seconds and you send out hundreds of texts. And then we're going to help you with direct mail. If you want to do direct mail, find you the buyers. And then Gavin and I are available on Voxer. Anytime you need us for questions, you can answer. We'll answer them on Voxer. 3 times a year, we do a small mastermind where we get our current clients together. We work with them. We partner with you on deals. It's pretty amazing. Literally, I'm not exaggerating here. There is no other coaching program like ours. For what we charge, it's ridiculous. We should double our price. Gavin and I keep on talking about that. Maybe we will. But like for what we offer, no one else does it and has the results that we have. I mean, I trust me on that. Gavin, you want to say something real quick?
Yeah. So Joe's exactly right, guys. When we changed, we've done a lot of coaching from case studies to group to setting it up. So we've kind of seen everything. And people in this business, just like anything, if I try and relate everything in my life back to sport, okay, because I was a golf professional. So discipline, dedication, words like that. And people that we work with, businesses, to set up a business takes a long time when it's brand new. Like I've got to research the market. I've got to get a CRM and I've got to get apps in. And then I'll need to text them. Who am I going to text? Where do I get the number? All this takes weeks and weeks and months, and you still haven't spoke to a seller, right? And so that means it needs to be done. You've got to speak to sellers, make offers and follow up. And if you do it on your own, can you do it? 100%. There's tons. This coaching call is going to help you. You can do it. We have free information on the podcast, really good stuff. You can do it all on your own. 100%, nothing. We don't leave anything out. But you can't beat the speed of implementation, right? By us doing it, we try and run as a rule of thumb 5 to 10 days. 2 weeks max, depending on how much data, how much we're doing with you. Everyone's different. To have a full business ready so you can operate the phone, make offers, and follow up. And if you're doing that within a couple of weeks, just think the learning curve that you're going to be to getting them deals closed. And that's kind of why we've done this model. And it's proven, we've been doing this model probably now coming up to 18 months. And it's by far the best thing that we've done.
Nice. Yes. Good. So we're getting a lot of people here saying where they're from. Appreciate you guys are awesome. Max, you're welcome. All right. And we're going to be sharing a lot about our systems and stuff here. We believe in the 3 keys to success in this business: marketing, automation, and delegation. And we're going to be talking about that here. So welcome everybody from New York, Kansas City, Missouri, Houston, Texas, South Florida, Kimberly. So I just can't say hi to everybody. Brad from Wake Forest. Glad you're here. Really, really am. And so this call is for you. And again, if somebody can type in the comments, joemccall.com/apply. When you get there, I'm going to show this to you right now. I'm going to go to that website because there's something really cool. We have a special thing on there that you need to check out. I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what you get. Gavin, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. What this is, guys, is it's more than just an application page. We have some case study videos on here that you really need to watch. This video, Gavin and I did this a few months ago, how we grossed over 150-something thousand in the last couple months in a competitive virtual market without any direct mail, without talking to any sellers, while everyone was saying the market is falling, it's not working, we can't do deals here anymore. We did this video. We break it down step by step exactly what we did, how we do our cold calling, what we say to the sellers, how we close this deals, how do we get our boots on the ground. So watch this video. If anything, you get some good nuggets out of that. And then you can apply to work with us here. But also down below, we've got a great interview with Rachel and Matt talking about how they're doing deals. They're some of our clients most successful right now. They're doing real well. We talk about how they're doing deals. We also interview a guy here, Gary Proctor. And this is a guy who's doing a lot of lease options. He's focused, hyper-focused. And we talk about how he's doing deals. We answer some of his questions here. It's like a free coaching call and an interview at the same time. Phil Marsh, this guy is awesome. He's doing deals in Springfield, Illinois. On this podcast, it's about an hour long. I'm telling you guys, these are not case study videos that are just pitching coaching. They are like awesome content where you're going to get such good ideas out of this and things that you can start doing right now in your business to do deals, even if you decide not to work with us. Okay. We're all about giving here. This is one of my favorite podcasts that I've ever done with Phil Marsh. He's in Springfield, Illinois, small little town. The whole county has only 200,000 people, and he's crushing it right now because of hyper focus. And he brought this phrase up and I loved it. Perfect focus brings clarity. And we talk about how, anything in this business it's just marketing and making offers. Like that's all that matters. And one of the things we talked about here is like everything else is stupid. Okay. If you're not marketing, if you're not talking to sellers, if you're not making offers, everything else is stupid. So If you want to hear us talk about that, go watch these videos here. And then our previous coaching call that we did where we actually evaluated like 3 or 4 or 5 deals, the recording of that is here. So you can watch us and see us evaluate some deals. And again, at the bottom of the page, I think we're giving them too much, Gavin. Hopefully you guys don't get indigestion, but you guys gave us so many questions we couldn't answer them. So we did 3 separate videos averaging about 40-something minutes of us going through and answering all of your questions. So go to joemccall.com/apply. Somebody please type that in the comments, joemccall.com/apply. And we will add that. You just got to go check that out. How do I stop my screen share? Here we go.
There we go.
So cool. A lot of you guys are in here. Appreciate that very much. Somebody type that in the comments, joemccall.com/apply. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go and start answering some of the questions and objections. I have it here on my spreadsheet as we go through this here. Somebody's asking here, I'm hoping this call is recorded because I'll be working. Yes, it will be recorded. You can find this on the YouTube channel. You can find it on my Facebook page. The YouTube channel it's going to be on is just Joe McCall. Just Google YouTube Joe McCall. Also Facebook, go to my Joe McCall Facebook page. You'll see the video there. And we're going to be releasing this as a podcast at Real Estate Investing Mastery as well. Somebody's asking here, why should I use REI Simple as opposed to any other CRM? I'm using RealFlow now, and they have numerous website templates as well as an extremely inexpensive direct mail program, 35 cents per postcard. They aren't specific to lease options. Okay, so cool. Here's the thing. If you're already using another CRM, don't switch. I mean, it's fine. REI Simple is what we use. We love it. We actually white labeled FreedomSoft and customized it for lease options and specifically for what we're doing. I think it's the best CRM out there by far. the best. And I've looked at all of them for two big reasons. The phone stuff is integrated very tightly in it. So you can make inbound and outbound phone calls inside of REI Simple. You can send inbound and outbound text. It records all your calls and keeps it in the lead. Each phone number, you get your phone numbers there. So it replaces call rail and number. It also replaces DocuSign and Sign Now, HelloSign, those digital signature companies. It replaces all your websites that you have. But the coolest thing about it is the document management. So if you had a realtor's contract that you want to use, or you want to start using your own letter or your own wholesale contracts, there's no other CRM that I found that does a better job of bringing that in, so you can really quickly and easily create your own documents and contracts right from the CRM, and then send them out to email or send in the physical mail to the sellers right from the CRM. So it's pretty amazing. Good. Yep. That's why we like it. Now, if you're using our RealFlow, that's a great tool, right? And FreedomSoft doesn't do direct mail like our RealFlow does. But again, you can, if you're going to use REI Simple or FreedomSoft, you can still get your mail done. You can do one-offs. You can have them do your postcards for you. It's a little more expensive. Or you can just use a mail house like what we use. All right. Somebody's asking here. Yeah. Somebody's asking here. They've seen a couple different webinars. I've done a webinar in the past for some wholesaling lease options stuff. And then I'm doing my new webinar for simple lease options, which costs a lot more. Somebody's asking, what is the difference between my wholesaling lease options training and my simple lease options training? Because I get this question a lot. This is a good question, William. The main thing is I used to have 3 different lease option courses: wholesaling lease options, sandwich lease options, and virtual lease options. Okay. We just combined it all into one called simple lease options. And we're focusing more heavily now on the sandwich lease options, because on those deals, you can get the big $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 paydays. You still make good upfront money, but you now are also getting cash flow and cash later. So the thing I love about lease options is you get 3 profit centers: cash now, cash flow, and cash later. Okay, good.
I just want to add to that real quick. The positioning of doing that also helps for the assignment lease option, which what we call the wholesale lease option. By positioning yourself in the correct way, you will also be able to then get assignments easier signed with the seller if you position right.
Yes. Good. Okay, so I'm just I'm typing something in there. Okay. Next question is a good one, and we'll dive deeper into this because this is about how to talk to sellers. And Gavin, this would be good for you to talk about. One of the great things I like about Gavin, why I brought him on, is he's so much better at talking to sellers than I am, right? I don't like doing it. One of the things I do is I outsource that. And that's, we tell people, hey, listen, that's the last thing you should outsource, talking to sellers. You should be doing that yourself. But Gavin is really good at training people how to talk to sellers and keep it super simple, and how to pull away so you're not chasing them. You get the seller to chase you, right? That's super important to understand and remember. All right, so this one, this is from Tom. Please talk about responses when asked, why should I consider leasing my property versus just selling it? So if you're talking about a lease option, they say, well, why would I want to lease it? I just want to sell it. I was taken for a loop when a person who needed to sell asked me this question. So it was, I guess they're saying here, it wasn't a want to sell, that was more of a need to sell. I didn't try to convince him. I just played it cool. But honestly, I felt quite incompetent. And being new at this, I don't like this feeling. So a couple things here, Gavin. They're new. They aren't comfortable with feeling like incompetent. I don't understand the answers. And this is probably a for sale by owner, I'm imagining. And the seller's like, well, no, why would I lease it? I don't want to do a rent to own. I just want to sell it. So what are some of the things you would say? How would you tackle that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the first thing is, if you ever get stuck, I just want to add this. If you ever get stuck, make sure you have questions listed, right? And you ever get stuck when they ask you a question, you just say, good question, but let me ask you this, and then ask another question. That's going to then get you off that subject and onto another one. So that's just a quick to direct the conversation. But to actually answer you, so if I'm talking to a for sale by owner, and then they say, well, why would I want to do that? I just want to sell it. The first thing is, obviously, we're seeing that there's very limited motivation. So I'm just at this point going to agree with him. Yeah, but let me ask you, it looks like it's been on Zillow for 30 days, a week, whatever. See what he says. Yeah, we've just listed it. It's a great house. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What are you going to do if it doesn't sell? That is going to be a lead question to find out. Then I'm now setting up for a follow-up call. So tell me this, what are you going to do if it doesn't sell? They will probably say, oh, it'll sell. It's a great house. It's only been listed a week. Yeah, it looks like a great house, and I'm pretty sure it's going to sell as well. But let's just say it didn't sell. What would you do? I'm just curious. Would you lower the price or would you rent it? Oh, well, I can't lower the price. I'm probably going to have to rent it. There we are. That's all I need to know that I can now transition that into a lease option over time. Okay, so I'm not talking about the strategy. I'm not going to talk to him about the benefits because he's not there yet. This thing has just come onto the market. Okay, it's going to sell. He believes it. I'm telling him it's going to sell, but I'm just throwing it out there that if it doesn't, what would you do? He's now agreed. I'm going to have to rent it. Okay, well, look. So if it was Joe, look, Joe, so like I said, it's a great house. I think it's going to sell. But do you mind if I touch base in a week or two and just see if it's sold? And then 95%, yeah, no problem. Of course you can. Okay, great. Well, look, off the phone. Okay, now at this point, you can make an offer. You could position yourself to say, well, look, I'm just going to make you an offer anyway. I understand you don't want to rent it, but I am interested. So I'm going to make you an offer anyway. You could make an offer and do a follow-up or position to get back on the phone. Now, you can play with the two. We're very good in our business with follow-up. We like to think that we don't miss anything. But if you guys are not organized, make the offer. Get something out because it won't get done, right? And then when you get back on the phone, here's the big thing with follow-up. So when we do that, we make notes, okay? So in your CRM, REI Simple, whatever you're using, take notes, what the seller said, no motivation, thinks it's going to sell, doesn't want to rent it, doesn't want to do this, blah, blah. Okay, no motivation. Now, when I call back, right, this is the key. When I call back, hey, Joe, how you doing? It's Gavin, just checking in about 123 Main Street. Is it still available? Oh, yeah, it's still available. Oh, it is? I thought it would have sold by now. Like, what's going on? Have you had any interest? Well, I thought it'd sell. Now what I'm doing is I've got my notes. I talked to a lot of people, so I can't remember Joe and what happened. That's why I rely on notes. And then I look and say, okay, before we had this, now we've had a slight shift. It's not a home run yet, but we've had a movement of, well, I thought it'd sell, I think it will, but I thought it would have gone by now. It's real strange. It's a hot market here. Yeah, I'm surprised too. So, I know we talked about it before. You didn't want to do it, but would you be interested maybe in like I said, renting it to me for a year or two and potentially get close to that price? And then you lead in again, not persuading. No, I think I just need to sell it. Okay, no worries. Now, guess what? The third time when you follow up, you're going to get the deal, right? So you're eliminating everyone else. You're building the trust in there, and you can get it. If you position lease options, a sandwich lease option, go low cash flow, right? Because all you're doing is making the assignment when you go there a lot better. That's all you're positioning for. It's so easy to get assignments signed. It's the easiest out of cash. Cash is hard. Sandwich lease options can be hard. Assignments, if positioned right, you back them into a corner where they can only say yes. That's it. There's nowhere else to go.
Gavin and I were doing deals in Jacksonville, Florida once. And me from St. Louis, Gavin was in Phoenix. And we did a bunch of marketing, got a ton of leads. Like, I was just blown away how many leads we got. And I forgot how, I don't forget, but sometimes it's like, this is easy. Like, getting leads is easy. Anyway, so we had a couple acquisition guys that we had hired that were more used to cold calling and not actually responding to leads, right? And they were just doing horrible with these leads. They weren't working them. So we had 100 and something cold leads. Cold. They had marked as dead, right? Maybe it was like 90 something. They had marked as dead. Gavin, we were just frustrated. Gavin got on the phone, and I forget the numbers. Gavin, do you remember within the first 30 or something, you locked up 4 deals?
It was about, we got 3 contracts in 7 days, and I did about 5%, 5 to 7% of the follow-up. Just from positioning, from their notes, they've already done the work. So I just come in and and sometimes, here's the thing, guys, you're not in corporate anymore. So you can just be bluntly honest. Yeah. Like, I go in and say, Joe, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to give you my advice. You don't have to sign anything with me, but you can't sell this thing. It's sat there for 90 days. It's too high. This is what you should do, Joe. Put 20,000 in, put a new kitchen in, new bathroom, and you'll sell it. Let's do that. Put 20 in. What are they going to say? I haven't got 20. I haven't got 20,000. Oh, you haven't? So again, positioning, right? I'm not selling them, but that's what it truly needs. So just be honest with them. And then again, when you transition, and that's what happened. There was an old guy, Florida, good area, and we got we got 3. The one deal that was good in this, we got signed. It was an older guy. It's actually a sad story. We got it signed. We had about 90 tenant buyers interested within the first 5 days of marketing because it was priced right. And I don't know if you remember, Joe, he passed away and we had to send it into probate.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing we were only going to make 5,000. It was just going to be fast. But he passed away. But anyway, positioning, price is right. Okay. Your terms and your price need to match. If you're overpriced and over rented, it won't move either. So you have to go price or terms. If the seller, this happens all the time. Property's worth 50,000. They're being crazy and want the house is worth 200,000. They want 240, right? No chance it's going to move. Okay, Mr. Seller, no problem. We can do the 240. 10 years, we'll be able to cash you out. And what do they do? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I want to do a year. But we can't do that. It's not going to get appraised. I wish I could. If I could give you 240, I would. But I'm not going to put someone in that property where they're not going to qualify. It's not going to happen. So unless you come back down to 200,000 and we do it over 2 years, it sounds like this isn't going to work. Straight pull away, honest, to the point, and now they've got a decision to make, right? And then the negotiation starts. You just, if you learn control and positioning, sales becomes then easy because you're not actually selling.
And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to pull away. And we talk about this a lot, right? Just pull away and say, this doesn't sound like it's going to work for you. That's okay. It's removing yourself from the outcome. You understand the importance of that? Remove yourself from the outcome. You're not chasing them. You're not the desperate, motivated buyer. You're just like, you know what? This probably isn't going to work for you. That's totally fine. You should probably just list it with a realtor. I got some realtor references. When you do it and you take that positioning, you're really actually helping the seller. You're helping the seller. And you can never be accused of trying to take advantage of them because you're giving them all their options. All right. You're giving them all their options. We're getting some people typing in some good questions here in the comments. We'll get to them, but I want to be going through the ones that were submitted earlier. This is a good question. It's a longer question, but I'm going to read it because this is really good. This is from Dolores. I've known about lease options for quite a while, 10 plus years. Many people that aren't in real estate are in the dark about it and they shy away from it. I've heard many objections to it on both sides, doing the business and potential sellers. Also, many real estate, by the way, a lot of the people, sometimes lease options get a bad rap. And let me address this real quick. And it's frustrating because the reason why it might get a bad rap is because people are doing them wrong. Number one, they're not setting it up where everybody wins. The seller has to win, the buyer has to win, and you, the investor, has to win. So important, okay? So you have to set them up for success. I don't recommend doing lease options on junker properties, on properties that are under $100,000. You are asking for trouble. Trust me on that, right? Just do owner financing or make cash offers. Don't do lease options on junker property. You should only be focusing on lease options in homes in the median price range, right? So in the Midwest, that might be like $125,000 to $250,000. Let's just say. It's not an exact science. Like I still go a little bit below or above that, but like you want to focus on the median price range. That's number one. Number two, the reason why lease options get a bad rap, they're not setting up the buyers to win. They're just putting people in who have the most money to put down. That's a big mistake. I've heard other gurus do this, talk about it and say, I'm just going to get the first person that has enough money. Hopefully they don't buy the house because then I can kick them out and get somebody else in there and collect a new option deposit. Wrong, wrong, wrong. This is the way I've done it and I've taught it for years and years. This is important. Pay attention. Because if you do this, you're gonna win. You're gonna make a lot of money in this business. And sellers will be happy, buyers will be happy. Only put people in your houses, in your lease option properties that have a realistic chance of getting a mortgage in 6 to 12 months. You can only put people in the house who can't afford it. So it doesn't matter if somebody goes to me and wants this property and they have $20,000 to put down and I'm only trying to get 5, but they've got 20. I look at their credit and there's no way they can get a mortgage in 2 years. Maybe 5 after they pay off this $200,000 judgment or unpaid child support or alimony or whatever. So don't ever put people in your properties that can't afford the house and don't have a realistic chance of getting a mortgage. I like to go 6 to 12 months. So what does that mean? Well, they need to put down 3 to 5% up front. They need to have good debt to income ratios. They can't have a bunch of really stupid, if they can't pay their utility bills, then they can't afford this house.
Yeah.
So you've got to be working with a mortgage broker that tells you when they look at this application, yeah, they can get a mortgage in 12 months if they do this and this and this. I'm not promising anything, but yeah, we can help them if they maybe establish some credit or pay these bills, these credit cards down, or distance. They need to be distanced themselves, another year or 2 years from this foreclosure or short sale or bankruptcy or whatever, right? So that's a good question from Dolores, but like anything that's typically 9 times out of 10, bad things that you hear about lease options are because people aren't doing them right. They're doing crappy homes in bad neighborhoods, or they're putting people in these homes that they should have never put in them in before. Okay.
Yeah. That just goes on that example that I just gave, the 200,000 and then trying to sell it at 240 in a year. If you get 10,000 down, you're 30,000 over the appraised value. No one's ever going to get a mortgage. So you can't, even if it's going to work and you have someone wanting to pay that, you're setting someone up to make $10,000 yourself when they are never going to get that mortgage in a year's time. And you can't, you've got to sleep at night, guys. You've got to do it the right way. So
that's good. So Dolores has more questions, but it's all kind of related to that. So I'm not going to read the rest, but I think that will help you, Dolores, and hopefully a lot of other of you. Kay is asking some questions here. If the seller already has an exclusive listing with a realtor and that says the agent will receive a 3% commission, how does that work if the seller wants to do a lease purchase with me? Really simple. You got to remember this. The seller pays the realtor commissions. You don't. So don't worry about it. Simple as that. Like if a seller, somehow if you find a seller calls you, you contact a seller, or you find a property, and you just got to make the offer. Make the sandwich lease option offer, preferably. It's most of the time easier to do a sandwich lease option than a lease option assignment on a property that's listed. But just make the offer on the numbers that work for you. Don't worry about the realtor commissions. You're not paying it. The seller is. Now, sometimes, though, you need to give the seller at least 1 month's rent as an option deposit, because when a seller with a listed property decides to lease their property, they usually will pay the realtor 1 month's rent commission. And you could tell them, you could work it out with them, but maybe you can pay the rest if and when my tenant buyer in the house buys the house in 1 or 2 years down the road. Does that make sense? So people get tripped up about this a lot. Don't worry about it. Just make the offers. If the seller wants to do a lease purchase and the realtor, I make them figure it out. I don't get in the middle. I don't want to be involved. That agent doesn't represent me. I'm just making my offer. Let's say the seller wants to do it. Which paperwork do you use? Well, it's up to you. You're the one making the offer. Use your paperwork. There's no law that says if it's listed, that seller has to use the realtor's paperwork. Now, the realtor may say, I'm not going to do this deal if they don't use my paperwork because I'm going to be liable and all that. That's fine. But you know what? I've heard this from my own. I have a license, right? If you're representing the seller and the seller is adamant that we use this certain amendment or this contract or paperwork or whatnot, right? That realtor, if they really wanted to help that seller, could go take that paperwork, give it to their attorney and say, hey, is it okay with you if we use this? And if the attorney says, yeah, it's okay, then it's okay for the realtor to do it. But anyway, don't overthink it, right? Just make the offer. You may have to wait till the listing expires, but just make the offer anyway for the numbers that work for you. Don't worry about the commissions. Let the seller and the realtor figure that out. And by the way, don't ever try to go around a realtor. Don't try to get the seller to cancel the listing agreement with the realtor. That's not the right thing to do. Yeah. So the other part of her question is, should we pass on sellers that are already working with realtors? Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes, one thing you could do is you could go into like Redfin and find the properties that have been listed for 90 plus days. If you're not an agent, and send a letter to the owner, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I just said don't go around the realtor, but like if you're not an agent, there's nothing that says you can't send a letter to the seller. And you might even put into the letter, hey, if you want to do a lease purchase, go ahead and show this letter to your realtor if you want to do that.
The other thing is as well that you could ask, if it has been on 90 days, is I normally ask the seller, what agreement do they have with the realtor? When is that agreement expired. And if it's a 2 weeks or something, then I'll just say, well, I'll contact you after and just leave it there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. The other question from Kay was about skip tracing. We use a service called Need to Skip in our coaching clients. All right. Anyway, sorry. Our coaching clients, we give them a really significant discount code. They can save a bunch of money. We use batch skip tracing, I think, right? And Need to Skip, mostly Need to Skip.
Yeah.
Cool. Sam is asking about the contracts. Okay, so lease option contracts. This is confusing to a lot of people. In my courses, if you have my course, always in the first module, I walk through an example deal from beginning to end, explaining all the contracts. There's different ways to do it. Some ways are better than others. What I like to do it is I first give the seller a one-page short offer form. It's a one-page contract that has the lease and the option on one page. And it's a non-exclusive option. So they can cancel it if they sell the house before I buy it. So it's not a big deal. Before I find a tenant buyer. Once I find a tenant buyer, then there's more paperwork. And typically, if it's a sandwich lease option, I'm going to sign a new lease option paperwork with the seller. And usually, if I'm going to stay in the middle, it's just one document, a lease and an option agreement together. But it's like 3 pages long. When I find a tenant buyer, I'm going to sign a separate lease and a separate option agreement with that tenant buyer. Separate lease, separate option agreement. And there's some other things like a seller's disclosure statement I want to make sure. And you might even want to do a sale contract, a purchase and sale agreement with the tenant buyer. If it's sometimes we're talking about realtors. I've used the realtor's contracts before for my lease option deals. I'll use the realtor's lease and I'll use the realtor's purchase and sale agreement. I'll just put a closing date 2 years in the future on the sales contract. It's not a big deal. If it's a wholesaling lease option deal, if it's a lease option assignment, I do the one-page short offer form with the seller. That just gets the ball rolling. When I find a good tenant buyer, pay attention. I sign a new lease and a new option agreement with the seller. And then with an assignment agreement, I assign those 2 documents to the tenant buyer, and I'm out of the deal. So that's how the paperwork works there. If that was confusing, just rewind this video later and listen to that again. And you should always have an investor-friendly realtor or an attorney review your contracts. I always recommend getting an investor-friendly attorney to review your contracts, of course.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to that, Gavin?
Yes. Coming from the person that started was scared to death of contracts, of owning a house and not knowing what to do. You weren't learning this business. You have to look at what your roles are, right? As an investor, what are your roles in this transaction? Your roles is sales and marketing. Your roles is not contracts because you have an attorney. You're paying the attorney, so put them to work. Your role is not a mortgage broker. How do I get this tenant buyer qualified? What do they need to clear up on their credit? What do they need? I have no idea. That is my mortgage broker's problem. Okay, so the people that are getting paid for that position, you have to put to work, right? Because they want you to do everything and then just get paid. But you can't allow that. So use the people in their professional positions and put them to work. The title company, put them to work, to clear title, whatever, if it's a cash deal. It happens all the time, guys, is that I don't know how to clear title. Guess what? I don't need to know. All I need to know is I've got a discounted property here, or I've got a lease option here, and I've got a buyer here, and we need to get this thing done.
Yeah.
Guys, what paperwork do you want me to use? Start asking them questions. What paperwork should I use? Here's my contract. Do you need to change anything? And let them guide you in their professional positions.
Yep. And by the way, if you want us to help you with the contracts and like he could say, hey, Joe, I got this great seller that's ready to do a deal today. What do I do? There's an app called Voxer. And on this Voxer app, you can reach me or Gavin. And depending on if we're on Voxer or not, within seconds, we can answer your questions. So we can help you with all these contract questions and even partner with you on deals if you want. So just go to joemccall.com/apply if you want to work with us. On that page, just real quick, if you're new to this video, we have about 4 case study videos on there where we we talk about our own deals that we're doing, what we're doing, and we interview 3 students that are doing deals, what they're doing. You get a lot of gold nuggets and value out of that. And we have a replay of our last coaching call that we did where we had a lot of, we did some deal evaluations and we answered a ton of questions. So just go to joemccall.com/apply. Even if you don't want to work with us, watch those case study videos and those interviews that we did with other students that are doing deals. It's just crazy. It's awesome. It's really good stuff. All right. We've got a lot of comments are coming in here, and a lot of people are asking questions, and people are answering the questions in the comments, which is cool. But we're going to go through some more questions from people that were submitted in advance. This is from Dawn. If we're using this one service that we recommend for scraping Zillow and Craigslist, and they've been importing the leads into Podio, can these leads be inputted into REI Simple instead? The answer is yes. What success are we having sending the first SMS text message to a person from the list that they have scraped? There's a lot of different marketing that you should do. One of the things that we set up our clients with is the skip tracing and marketing. So like cold calling, I mean. So we'll pull the list, find the best zip codes. We'll find the best sellers in that zip code. We'll pull the list. We'll skip trace them. We'll get a VA to make the cold calls, put any leads into REI Simple. We've got like 45, 50 VAs that are doing cold calling for us right now. So you don't have to worry about finding them. We'll give them to you. And they're good. They're excellent, fantastic VAs. So there's also other marketing that we do. One of them is we go out and we scrape Craigslist and Zillow. We get phone numbers. And about once a week, you're going to get anywhere from a couple hundred to 1,000. I'd say if you're doing it consistently every week, you're going to get about 200 to 300 new leads coming in. And so every day you can send out pretty quickly and easily inside of REI Simple 30, 50 text messages a day. And it just takes a few simple clicks and it merges in the fields. And then you can send them a text like, hey, I saw your property on Zillow. I'm an investor. Is your price negotiable? Or you could send them a text saying, hey, I saw your property on Zillow at 123 Main Street. I'm looking for a property that I can maybe lease for a year or two and then buy. Would that work for you? So you can send out those texts really quickly and it merges them. You can see the responses come in and you can, when you're ready for leads, just send out those texts and you'll start getting busy pretty quick. On average, you send out 100 texts, you're going to get about 10 sellers, about 10% to 20% on average of sellers that respond back saying, yeah, I might be interested. Maybe tell me more. And, you can text them back a few more questions, or you can just pick up the phone and call them. That's what we recommend. Okay. And so people are asking, Don's asking, should I just have my VA do it? It's so simple and easy. Like you should just probably do it yourself. When you're sitting down, you got a couple hours where you can make some phone calls. Just blast out real quick, 50 to 100 texts. And within a few minutes, you're going to start getting people that you can start calling and talking to. So you could have a VA do it, but like you're wasting time because they could go out and do it. And then it's going to be 3-4 hours before you see it. And then the lead gets cold by then.
Yeah.
My main challenges are setting up the back office to support the sales and marketing effort. One of the things we really strongly recommend as quickly as possible to get your own virtual assistant. Should you do your if you had a budget $500 to $1,000, should you get a VA or should you do marketing? I'm probably going to recommend getting a VA. Like you need to get a virtual assistant as soon as possible to help you with admin stuff. There's only 3 things your VA should be doing. Marketing, making sure your marketing is going out or updating your scorecard. Number 2, they should be updating your CRM. You need to get away from the computer. Now I'm saying here, send the text, but like when you're talking to a seller and you have notes and stuff like that, send that stuff to your VA, have the VA update the CRM, have the VA send out any offers. And then 3rd, have your VA do the follow-ups. So have your VA marketing, update CRM, and do your follow-ups. Super important. I'm having some tech issues with REI Simple, but the support is very helpful and we're tackling them one at a time. Good. Some of the issues are generate documents, review the docs, preview, et cetera, but they're working on that. When it comes to documents, there are really good tutorial training videos inside of REI Simple. And anybody who just sits down and watches that and pauses it, does it, watch it, pause it, do it, you're going to do fine with that. And so when doing an email from attachments, how do I add in other fields such as my name, title, company, et cetera? One of the cool things about REI Simple, real quick, is there's things called templates. So you can create email templates and document templates. And so you can, if you're sending out an email to realtors, for example, and you have the certain language you want to say, you can email an attachment to a realtor and you can choose which email template you want it to be, and it brings in all the merge fields. So just watch Don, who's asking this question. Just watch those videos again on the document templates. Okay. What is the bot you speak of, and how do I learn how it works and how to use it? The bot. I'm not sure. There was a couple months ago, I was promoting this thing about called Foxbot. And,
yeah, that's what it'll be.
Okay. So the guy's working out some bugs. Let's just say that. I mean, it worked really well. But I sent him too many customers. Maybe he's got them worked out. I don't know. But what it is, and you can do this yourself, just go join all the local garage sale, buy, sell, trade Facebook groups. And, once a week, post a message in there saying, hey, I'm looking for some properties to buy. That need a lot of fixing up. Does anybody have anything? And then, once that thread starts going down, then you can maybe add a comment to bump it back up because that gets leads. So this guy created a bot that does that on a much bigger scale. Okay. This is a good question from Rodney. My biggest challenge is making offers on MLS properties without verifiable proof of funds. Gavin, I'm going to let you answer this because I'm going to go get a quick glass of water. He says here, I know that if I invest in certain programs, then they include it. The challenge is my funds are too low to invest in those other programs. How can I get past this hurdle? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some water.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, guys. So with proof of funds, it comes up a lot when it's listed or there's a realtor, even if you're off market or you've got something where the realtor's involved, you're normally going to get the question of proof of funds. There's two things that you can do. Three things. You can get something offline. There's different websites that you can get proof of funds from. That's probably not the best legit way to do it, but people do. And then there is also networking with other buyers to get proof of funds, depending on what your exit strategy is going to be. Obviously, you're going to be wholesaling it or doing a flip. So if you're doing it for that, then the people that you're going to borrow the money from will give you the proof of funds. So any lenders, hard money lenders, private money lenders, you can get proof of funds from. Or you position it with the realtor in that you will do all proof of funds after you've done your inspection. So that's the other thing. Sometimes that they will not allow that. Depends on how motivated they are, how long the deal's been on. If it's a brand new deal, they might say, no, we need proof of funds. That would be my first thing is position to get, like I said, the inspection done. Yeah, no problem. We'll do the proof of funds after I've done my inspection. I'm not going to the bank, pulling all that for this property until I know that I want to buy it, until I've seen it, been in the property. So that would be number one. Number two is network. You can call people. Just look up private money, hard money companies, network. Who do you use for your money? Oh, I use JB Smith. Call them. Hey, looking for a flip. I'm potentially going to use you guys. Is there any proof of funds that you can give me so I can start bidding on properties? Yeah, no problem. Very, very easy. It's a big stumbling block that absolutely means nothing. It's so easy if you network to get proof of funds. It really, really is. It's one of the most easiest things to overcome. Yeah.
So what I've done before when I was getting started is I found a good buyer, a guy who was wanting to buy properties. And I said, hey, listen, I'm going to be making some offers. If they ask for proof of funds, can you give me a bank statement or something? And the guy's like, yeah, no problem. I said, just blank out your name if you want, or blank out the your address or account number if you want. And so this guy, once a month, he would give me a new bank statement with which showed a couple $100,000 in it. And it was really, I think it was actually a line of credit with, and it was a letter from his banker.
And that can be fine as well.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. And sometimes if the realtor's saying that, they're starting to sniff that you're a newbie and a beginner investor. So you need to present yourself a little more professionally, maybe. Because if you're a serious buyer,
Oh, sorry, we got delayed.
I was just saying, if you're a serious buyer and the realtors can sense that, they're not going to ask for a proof of funds. But that's it's a good question. Don't let that stumble you up, though. That's not a good excuse to make offers. All right. So we got somebody that had a couple of deals that they wanted us to look at. We're going to do that last. I want to go through more questions. This was from Peter. He says, I was thinking about approaching realtors and or property managers, seeing if they had any potential tenants for any properties that I have in the pipeline. I was thinking of charging a $200 application fee, which the realtor can receive minus any background check fees. That's a large, if you're wanting to charge $200 application fee, that's pretty high for a tenant. But, I normally charge like $25. The company I use out of Illinois, I've used this lady for years, over 10 years. She's phenomenal. She does this anywhere in the country, and she charges $50, but she does a very thorough background check, and I usually pay for half of that. So I guess the question is, they're wanting to know, to build my database of potential tenants and tenant buyers, should I partner with realtors and property management companies? I wouldn't worry about that. Like if you've got a good property that's priced right and you're advertising it the right way, if you don't find a good tenant buyer in 3 to 4 weeks, then something's wrong. What does that mean? That means like signs, a sign in the yard, bandit signs in the neighborhood on the weekends, getting it on Facebook Marketplace for rents, getting it on Craigslist for sale by owner and for rent, and trying to get it on Zillow if you can. If you're doing those things, and if it's priced right, like if the market rents are $1,500, you should be advertising it for $1,400. And I promise you, you're going to get flooded with calls, probably too many. And if you're doing those marketing things, and like I've got students that are putting on their signs, because they're priced so good, they're putting on their signs, rent to own, 3% moves you in. I mean, they're telling the sellers, the buyers up front, they want 3%. 3% moves you in, and they're getting flooded with calls. Yep. So I think that answers your question, Peter. I'm brand new. This is from Moses. I'm brand new, so I can't really pinpoint any challenges other than that there is a lot to learn. I do have one request, though. This question has to do with PropStream. Seems to be great, full of great data for possible leads. I'm not blessed with a great deal of creativity, though, and I would be grateful if you could go over ways in which it can be used for leads. PropStream charges about 30 cents for skip tracing. Yeah, so that's not the cheapest. If you want to do like one-off skip tracing, I actually recommend a service called peoplelooker.com. Peoplelooker.com. I don't have any affiliate relationship with them, but if you're looking for bulk skip tracing, we use Need to Skip or batch skip tracing, and our clients get a significant discount on that too. But 30 cents actually isn't that bad for skip tracing, really. So he's asking, I want to use PropStream for a list of leads in my county, Miami-Dade, Florida, and I have them provide the skip tracing service. Okay, so the question is, should I use the ringless voicemail? Ringless voicemail. I actually don't recommend ringless voicemail anymore. I have friends that are still using it. My good friend Sean Terry still uses it and promotes it. It just makes me nervous. So, and maybe I'm a little more cautious than probably I should be when it comes to things like that. I just know several people that have been sued from ringless voicemails, and it seems like everybody's doing it, so it's not working as well as it used to. And I may be completely wrong. So, maybe you should talk to somebody who's actually using it more. More than I am. Do you want to add anything to that, Gavin?
I mean, we've done it. We've done some of it for Alabama, but it also, we look at the law to see where they're at what stage. I would absolutely not do it in Florida. That's probably the worst state. So you need to look and do your due diligence, and just be aware that you are at risk by doing it. And don't be surprised if you are the unlucky one. The law of averages say it might not be you. But when it is you, it could be 10, 15, 20,000 fine that you're going to have to come up with because you've done it. So, yeah, that's why we don't teach it, because there's better ways that are a lot safer for everyone across the country. So we're not getting you in trouble either. So, but if you want to do it, it is effective, but make sure you do your due diligence. Yeah.
So one of the things I'm going to show you guys real quick, because the questions were about PropStream. Now, I love PropStream. I use it every single day. And this is my link, PropStreamJoe.com. If you go to PropStreamJoe.com, you will have you get 10,000 downloads a month. Okay. If you use my link, though, you're only limited to like 50 to 100 downloads a day. If you use PropStreamJoe.com, you get 5,000 downloads a day, up to 10,000 in 1 month. So go check out PropStreamJoe.com. And I'm going to show you real quickly how I use it, because it's pretty amazing. Oops. I'm going to share my screen. Do you see it, Gavin?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm here in.
Zoom in.
Okay. So I'm here I just went to Miami-Dade County, Miami, Florida. And in PropStream, I can see there's 1,200 pre-foreclosures. I don't know how right that is, but there's 35,000 properties with liens. There's 10,700 vacant homes, 800 foreclosures. So, if I just click on this, it's going to show me all of the liens. Let me just pick one zip code here. Some of these liens are commercial properties, but you can get county, city tax liens, abstract judgments, state tax liens, federal tax liens, and stuff like that. If I go out here to some of these suburban areas, maybe let's just see. Let's do. Somebody give me a zip code in Miami, Florida. 33156. I don't know where this is. Oops. 33156. In that one zip code, if I zoom out, okay, it's down kind of wherever that is, south of Miami. Can you still hear me, Gavin?
Yeah. You good?
Okay, my internet
is checking.
A little slow right now. 33156. Let me try this again. 33156. I think I'm overloading my browser because all these buttons say loading.
Yeah.
So something's going on. But you can get from this. Here we go. Let me try this now. You can get from this in that county or in that zip code right there. If I give it a minute, there's 29,566 properties. And in that zip code, there's 2,500 cash buyers. There's 617 properties with liens. And there's 470 vacant properties. So if you're looking at it for a good list to send marketing to, I would go right here to filter. I might say, let's say I'm looking for absentee owners with equity. Let's do owner occupants with equity rather. I'm going to do owner occupied. I'm going to go, there's two things here. There's high equity, and I'm going to do property characteristics. I want to make sure they have a single family home. I click apply. So there's 3,600 owners with high equity. There's also a list called free and clear. So there are different lists, high equity and free and clear. And there's 2,700 homes there that have that are free and clear in that area. You could also then go say, all right, well, I want to make sure it has at least 3 bedrooms and ownership info. I want to make sure they've owned it for at least 10 years. Do 10. And how many do we have? So you can see the list here. 3+ bedrooms, free and clear, single family, 3 or more bedrooms, 10 years or more ownership. There you go. You've got 1,200 in that zip code that you could start sending marketing to. Also in that zip code, you've got 617 properties with liens. So this might be a good property list to skip trace. 600 something properties. Well, this also is including free and clears. Like this property has a $50,000 lien on it, right? From, I don't know. I don't understand. Some kind of judgment. It's a property. It's a house. They have owned it. If I go to transaction history, looks like they were last sold in 2016. If I go to mortgage, there's a mortgage on it from 2013. So mortgage has probably been wiped out when it was sold last, I'm guessing. You can get really good comps here by clicking comps. You can sort this by sale price. You can see, when I make my cash offer, I look at the lowest solds. So there's some good comps there. And you can get information about when it was sold with cash, information on the lien. So there's some equity in this deal. You can see who owns it. You can see the address of the homeowner if it's a vacant absentee owner. You get all of the property characteristics. For $97 a month to get all this information, I was spending over $1,000 a month to get this stuff, to pull the lists, to I had a bunch of subscriptions to other services like RealQuest Express and some of Kent's systems, which are really good. But I'm saving about $500 to $800 a month from all of the data that I can get here in PropStream. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, check out PropStreamJoe.com. I'm sorry, I didn't know I had my banner up that whole time. Could you still see what I was doing with that banner?
I could see your. Yeah, you didn't have it up long though. I could see the PropStream stuff. Yeah.
All right. Good. We got some more questions here that were submitted in advance. We're almost done with these. So let me go to the next one. And then we'll go to your questions that you're submitting right now in Facebook and YouTube. Okay, this is from Moses. I had a for sale by owner seller who reduced his property to $360,000 yesterday, and the ARV median value is only $323,000. So the seller is wanting $360,000, and the property is probably worth $320,000. My cash offer resulted in $222,000, and the sandwich lease option came to $265,000. He was very rude from the outset, so the initial call did not last, but would love this to have been something should this have been something that even worth going after? And if so, how would I have handled such a variance between his perspective and my offers? Well, first of all, it's for sale by owner, and he's probably asking too much. He's asking $360,000. You're saying here the house is worth about $320,000. He's not very motivated, right? Maybe he is super motivated. He just bought the house a year ago and he owes way more than it's worth. I don't know. I doubt it. But he's just probably not motivated yet. And so if I'm talking to him, if he's open to a lease option and I'm talking to him and he wants way too much, I'd probably say, I don't think this is going to work for me. Not a big deal. If you just thought about listing it with a realtor, you should probably list it with a realtor and see what he says, right? And he may say, no, I don't want to pay the commissions. I don't want to put the money into the property to fix it up. Or I'll just wait to see if I sell it now. And if I don't, then I'll think about listing it with a realtor. So he's obviously on a scale of 1 to 10, his motivation's like a 1. And I might just say, well, would it be all right if I send you an offer? It's probably going to be, I doubt this is going to work for me, but maybe I can send you something you can look it over. And if you, circumstances change and you change your mind in a few months, then let's talk maybe again later. And that's how I might leave it, right? Just send the offer, and I put it in an email and in the physical mail. What would you add to that, Gavin? Yeah,
the only thing that I might add, it depends. I think you said that he was aggressive or he had an attitude. So if he had an attitude, I probably wouldn't. But at normal, if he was just normal, I would say, do you have any supporting comps? What makes you think it's worth $360,000?
How'd you come up with that number?
How did you come up with that number? And maybe say, because it looks like a nice house down the street, actually, just sold for $280,000 or whatever. Like, is yours way better, I assume? And then let them see, there is? Where was that? Oh, no, I just stuck it on because I think that's what it's worth. Like, some people will do things, have no idea what they're doing, and they'll just list it because they just want $360,000 for it. They won't think. They're not in real estate. They don't know that it's not going to sell. They're just throwing it up and kind of figure out what's happening. But as Joe said, when they do that, no motivation.
The other thing I like to ask is, I understand you want to sell it, and I hope you do. But let me just ask you a question real quick, and I'll let you go. What are you going to do if you can't sell it? Are you going to rent it out?
Yep.
Shut up. Listen. Yep. So you're just asking questions. And if they say, yeah, I might rent it out, I don't know, that shows you a little open window of motivation there. But again, remember this, 9 out of 10, I'd say 9.5 out of 10 sellers that you talk to are going to show you zero motivation on that first call. And you're going to think you laid a goose egg. But I'm telling you, this guy has unrealistic expectations. Give him a year. Give him a month, maybe a year to cook. Give him a couple months. Keep on following up. You got to follow up. If he says no, ask him, well, do you have any other properties? Do you know anybody else? And then follow up again in a month. Send him a text message, an email, a phone call, a letter. Follow up of the 58 deals that we did last year. 54 of them came from the follow-up. 54 came from the follow-up. That means only 4 said, yes, we knew from the initial first call that it was a potential deal.
Yeah. I think one of the
Yeah.
big things, just real quick, that happens with people that are new in the business is that you need to be a little ruthless and think about your time, right? You're in the business to make money today, if not today, tomorrow, and the next day, as fast as you can, right? So when you've got someone showing you zero motivation, you can't stay on the phone.
Sorry to distract you. Somebody's
No,
wondering if
sorry.
this is live or pre-recorded. Come on, Ivy. What's going on, brother? This is live, baby.
We're definitely live.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Gavin.
So it's funny when we say that and everyone then goes, "Oh, it is live."
Yeah.
I don't know what I was saying, but basically, yeah, your time. So you're in the business to make money today. If there's no motivation, you need to get on to the next call, right? You're in business to make money, not talk to someone that doesn't warrant your time to be having that discussion with, right? That's one thing. And the second thing I want to add is that we're in the business of people, not real estate, not property. We're in the people business, okay? So where we want to, the reason we market is because we want to talk to as many people as possible. When we market to talk to people, they have properties attached to them, okay? So it's the person that's going to allow the motivation for you to get the property. It doesn't matter how good it looks on paper, if it's been set on fire and it looks like it's a great deal and they should sell it to you. If they are not allowing that because there's no motivation, you haven't got a deal. So that's when it's time to get off the phone, make the offer, put them on follow-up, and get on to your next call.
Follow up, follow up, follow up.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, unless you hate money, don't do any follow-up. And by the way, let me just say this. Gavin, how he got started, he didn't have any money for marketing. He went to the local RIA group and said, hey, I know how to use a phone. I've got one of these things.
Yeah.
Right? If any of you have got some old leads, send them to me. I'll make some calls. I'll get it under contract. You just pay me a couple $1,000. We'll split the deal, whatever.
Yep.
3 different people gave him leads.
Yep.
And one lady in particular, tell this real quick, Gavin.
60 dead leads. Dead. I gave them on a Google spreadsheet. They went out 3 months ago. Dead leads. Do you want to work them? Yeah, sure. I had some notes. I called every single one.
This was in Phoenix, one of the most competitive markets in the U.S.
Yep. And we got 2 contracts. Within about the first 40, I got about 40 out of 60 on the phone. We locked 2 deals up. And that was, you create your own luck in this business, but I did get lucky to see the importance of follow-up, right? Because I have mentors and people telling me to do it. I don't know if it works. I'm just doing what they say, right? So I'm just like, well, follow up. If they're dead or not, no, there's no such thing as a dead lead unless it's sold yesterday or they're aggressive and want to kill you or something. Otherwise, it's never dead. So I just started to call them, and guess what happened? Circumstances. This lady, the first deal, I remember it. It was 80,000 that we offered. She said, no, I'm going to put the money in and we're going to sell it herself. That's what the note said. And guess what? 3 months later, she had not moved a thing in that property. So time, the older the leads, the better they are. If you have a ton of leads in your CRM, I guarantee you will close a deal faster by going through what's in there than the new ones coming in today.
Exactly right. And sometimes it's good to stop your marketing. No, I don't mean that. Don't ever stop your marketing. But if you're running low on money, go back to your old leads and just pick up the phone and start calling them.
Yep.
You've got deals there. Mm-hmm. All right. So real quick, Mark was asking, do you work with expired listings for lease options? And I'm doing this question just so y'all know this is live. Yes, that's a great list to send mail to for expireds. But when you send a letter to them, say, hey, we're not looking to list your property. We're looking to buy it. Okay. Okay. So Steve is asking here, I double checked, coach, this course listed at 2 p.m. Central. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. But you can watch the replay. The replay of this will be on YouTube and on Facebook and on my podcast. So you can watch it back. You can go back. All right. So a couple more questions here from the list that was submitted earlier. How do you do a deal outside your area? What I have found to be the best way, Brian, I've done this multiple times while I was traveling around Europe for 3 months with my wife and 4 kids, doing deals in 3 or 4 different markets in the U.S. I partnered with local wholesalers. Super simple. I found a local wholesaler that was already doing deals that I knew, that I trusted. And I said, hey, listen, how about I do the marketing? I'll pay for the marketing. My team, my systems will pre-screen the leads. You work the leads. We'll keep everything open book inside of our CRM, and we'll split the deal 50-50. Great. We did a bunch of deals that way. We were averaging about 30 grand a month on wholesale fees, my half of the profit when we were traveling around Europe. And then we did it for 3 months around in an RV in the northwestern corner of the U.S. So I had my local assistant doing direct mail. I could have gotten a mail house to do it. I had a virtual assistant taking the calls and pre-screening the leads as they came in live, put them into, at the time we were using Podio, and the local wholesaler would get the lead after it's been pre-screened. So the other question related to this from Brian is, do you use a realtor or another investor? I use both, right? So if I'm doing lease options, I'll use a realtor to help me advertise for tenant buyers. But usually I partner with other local investors. And even once when I was doing subject twos, I was doing a lot of subject twos in other markets, I would go find out who's advertising owner financing in those markets. And I would contact them and say, hey, listen, I got a deal. Would you partner with me on this? I already got it under contract. If you can help me find a buyer, we'll just split it 50-50. Yeah.
Yep.
How do you ensure that you're not getting left out of the deal? Well, you can't really guarantee that, but I always pick the person first, then pick the market that they're in. So that's the way I did it. I trusted them. And second thing that's really important is everything is open book in my CRM. So I invite that wholesaler into my CRM. The lead comes in, we track it inside of my CRM, and I make sure that wholesaler understands that I have to see all the contracts and all the paperwork. I have the A to B contracts and the B to C contracts, and it all has to be done inside of my CRM. Okay. Now I also, this is important, daily communication. You got to be talking to that guy every day. Or in my case, I had my assistant at the time talking to that wholesaler every day. So there was always constant communication. We were always talking about the current leads that were in the CRM. So Eric is asking, I live in Texas, and I know you said that we can do lease options in Texas. Should we use John's contracts? Yes. Use John's contracts. Yep. In the Simple Lease Options course, we have a video where we interview John, talks about his contracts. We give you a coupon code to buy his course for half off, which is like $500. And then after you do a deal, give us a testimonial. We'll refund you the $500. So you can't do sandwich lease options in Texas, but you can do lease option assignments in Texas. And John Jackson's a good friend of mine. Good guy. Just Google him if you want more information about him. I need to be more effective in communicating with real estate agents with expired listings. I don't know why you would be communicating with real estate agents of expired listings. The buyers are turning down for financing, do not qualify for a loan. I don't understand the question. Sorry, Edgar. But can the system work if I take over the deed to the property subject to existing financing with the intent to do a triple net lease option? Well, when it comes to houses, I don't think you can do triple nets. Just become typical standard landlord tenant laws. But yeah, you can certainly do subject twos, right? I might recommend subject twos if the seller is facing foreclosure and you got to get the loan back to current. I'd probably do a subject two. I used to do a bunch of them. I don't like them anymore. I mean, I like lease options so much better because they protect the seller better, I think. And also it allows me, it's easier for me to get out of the deal if I want to. So I just don't like subject twos. I was tired of answering the questions of like, wait a minute, you want me to sign over my mortgage to you, but the deed to you, but the mortgage still stays in my name. So anyway, but some, like in some markets, like in Texas, more people do subject twos than lease options. So fine. Just find out what works for you. You can find attorneys and title companies that will do subject twos. You just got to ask around. This is from Tiffany. How does a real estate agent get paid if you are wholesaling a lease option? Remember, the seller pays the realtor commissions, right? So if I give any money to the seller, it's up to the seller to figure out how much they give that to the realtor. But if I'm using a real estate agent to help me find the tenant buyer, I usually pay them half to 1 month's rent as a commission, but they're representing me. So I might put an ad in Craigslist. Hey, I'm looking for a realtor. I'm an investor. I'm looking for a realtor to help me lease my properties. I'm looking for a leasing agent, and you work out a commission structure with them. If you're doing a ton of deals, you can get away with paying them $500 for each deal, right? Should I set up a DBA, doing business as, with a separate bank account for this specific DBA, or should I just go ahead and set up an entity? if I haven't done my first wholesaling deal yet? Okay, so first of all, if you haven't done a deal yet, Tiffany, you don't need to worry about setting up LLCs and DBAs and bank accounts and separate entities and tax structures and all that. That's important. I'm not saying it's not, but like, how many sellers have you talked to in the last week? How many offers have you made in the last week? So you need to be focused on marketing, talking to sellers, and making offers. That's it.
Follow up.
Good. Jai. When building a buyer's list, should you concentrate on specific zip codes to find buyers, learn those areas, and market for properties only in those specific areas? Or should you cast a wide net for buyers in several different zip codes and try to find whatever they're looking for to purchase? Okay, so different answers. If you're doing wholesaling, I like to go into, first of all, let me say this. If I'm wholesaling, I like to go in the surrounding MSAs. Like I try to avoid the big MSA and go around those. Okay, so I just did a course called Small Town Profits with Larry Goins, and the testimonies have been really, really good. We're going to be re-releasing it soon. But like, I saw this from Larry Goins, and he's in Charlotte, big market, right? Big MSA, tons of competition. Everybody's mailing in there. It's like crazy. He just decided to ignore it, and he started sending marketing all around to the surrounding counties. Does all his deals virtually over the phone. He's crushing it. He's getting 2 to 3 times the response rate on his direct mail. And anytime he sees more investors starting to, creep into one of his counties, he just leaves and he goes in the counties surrounding that county, and he's intentionally going after the small towns. And he's going big. He's sending about 35,000 postcards every single month, and he's crushing it, doing tons and tons of deals. So we started teaching this. He's taking the strategy of, I'm going to find the deal first, and then the buyers will come. And it's been super easy because the buyers are out there. A lot of times it's just, you just put a sign in the yard and you'll get buyers that will buy it, neighbors and stuff like that. So, okay, when it comes to wholesaling, there's different things. I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but you need to find your buyers to see what they want and what they'll pay for it, right? But at the same time, you need to go find deals and just negotiate the best deals that you can. If your buyers aren't interested, then renegotiate with the seller. So it's important to get buyers, but at the same time, you should be marketing for sellers as well. There's easy ways you can go in to see where the buyers are buying homes at. But at the same time, sometimes if you're just focusing on a few zip codes, you might have a hard time finding enough people to send marketing to. So you don't want to do just spray and pray, but at the same time, you don't want to be too narrow focused, right? So there's a kind of a good mix in between. Okay, for cash deals, when I'm selling them, what do you ask your buyers for in terms of proof of funds to determine if they are genuine buyers or not? Good question. So I'll just say this, and then Gavin, you can answer it. If I'm selling one of my deals, when I'm talking to the end buyer, I want to make sure they're not a wholesaler and they're not trying to do just daisy chains. So I like to deal directly with their end buyer. Now, I may tell this wholesaler who contacts me, I say, listen, I'll cut you in the deal, but I want to deal directly with your buyer. I don't want to do a bunch of daisy chains. So give me direct contact with your end buyer, and you and I will have an agreement on the side, and I'll pay you. I'm a man of my word. I'll pay you on the side. But you don't want to do daisy chains. You want to deal directly with the end buyer. Do you want to add anything to that, Gavin?
You can use like a JV agreement with the wholesaler just on that one property. The profit split 50-50, and then goes, like Joe said, straight to the buyer. One of the big questions is just when you pre-screen the buyers, when you talk to them, how many are they buying? How quickly can they buy buy the property? And things like that, you will know, we'll buy as many as you've got, or, I need 30 days before I can close, or I'll close tomorrow if title's clear. So you will know who the players are. And just through real estate, as big as it is, it's quite a niche market. It's very, people know people, and real quick, you know who the players are and who to stay away from. And it's just learning and talking to people by networking. And you can do that even in a virtual market. You just pick up one of these and start talking.
Yep. Start talking. If you go to joemccall.com/apply, you're going to go, there's some case study videos here, and we talk about how to find these buyers and what we do in this case study video right here. Also down below this video, with Gary. We talk about that, and especially this one. We did this interview with Phil Marsh, super cool guy, and how he finds his buyers. We spent a lot of time talking about that because he's in a small town. Like, how do you find buyers in a small town? Well, if you got a good deal, they start begging you, and for deals, even in small towns. So I really want to encourage you guys to watch this interview. Just go to joemccall.com/apply and get that. And then we also do, we have another video here where we do some case studies. We actually look at some deals, and we answer a bunch of questions here. So a lot of good stuff. And of course, if you want to get some help, you want to apply to work with us as a private client, click this button here, takes you to a Podio web form, and just tell us a little bit about you, and we'll get on the phone and talk. Okay? We'll get on the phone and talk. Let's do one more question here. Then we're going to, a lot of you guys have been asking comments and questions in YouTube and Facebook. So we're going to get to that next. Okay. This is a good question from Brad, specifically for lease options. One of the challenges I've been having is finding people or having sellers want a 10% down payment in order to do a lease option. How do you talk them out of that? Or do you give it to them and then try to find a buyer to pay for it? I have a $400,000 house and the seller wants $40,000 option deposit, $2,000 in rent. How do you deal with this? I just make the offer and move on. So like when I'm making an offer on a sandwich lease option, I maybe put $1,000 down and that's it. Maybe 1 month's rent, but that's $2,000 on this deal. Like, is that going to work? I don't know. But if they want 10% down, they have zero motivation. Mm-hmm. So you should tell them, I don't think it's going to work for me. Go ahead, Gavin.
Yeah, just say no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. It's not going to work. Sounds like this isn't going to work for you. And then silent. Do not speak. And it might feel like a minute, but just say that. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's not going to work. It sounds like this is going to work for us. And then say nothing. And then their next move, you will see, well, that's what I want. Okay, no problem. Look, sounds like it's not going to work, but I'll make you an offer if you don't mind. You never, if this doesn't move or seems like a great house, always compliment things. So
yeah,
just get them on the side. So I'm sure we're not even going to have another discussion because this will sell. But I'm just going to make you an offer anyway. Is that all right? 99% will say, yeah, that's fine. Make the offer. When it doesn't sell, here we are, and we renegotiate, because
that's a really good point. Compliment their house. This is a really beautiful house.
Yeah,
you don't want to leave the conversation on a bad note, right? Compliment the house. I'm sure you're going to sell it really quickly. That's totally cool, and then move on, right? Sometimes it's all about positioning too and how you start the call. And so sometimes I like to start the call with, "Hey, my name is Joe. I'm calling about your house. Looks like a beautiful house. Do you mind if I just ask you a few questions to see if this would be something I'd be interested in?" Positioning it, asking the questions, framing it the right way. A really good book you should read is called Never Split the Difference. Okay, go get that book.
Yep.
All right, so we're done with the questions that were submitted in advance. I'm just going to walk through here the questions that people submitted in Facebook and YouTube. All right, we still got a ton of people on, so let's just keep on going.
Awesome.
So this is really, really good here. I'm familiar. This is from Ivy. I'm familiar with lease options as a realtor, but do you teach how to avoid the option money on your first deal? I'm not sure I understand. I don't understand that. Sorry. How do you avoid option money for first deal? Do you understand that?
No. I think he means probably giving it to the seller. I would guess. How do you avoid giving option money to the seller? Maybe.
Just what you offer, right? Just don't offer.
Yeah.
Okay, Austin. I went through the first half of our absentee owner list, and I'm wondering if I should switch over to another type of list for our text campaigns. So if you're doing cold texting, I don't recommend cold texting.
Austin's one of our coaching clients. So Austin, we can talk about doing Craigslist and Zillow.
Yes.
So send us a Voxer.
Yeah. But again, still, and we've already talked about this with Austin. Don't text owner-occupant list. Only text absentee owner lists.
Yes, which is what he's doing.
And if you've only went through the first half, go through the whole thing.
Yes.
But when we're finding we're working best for texting is texting. Zillow and Craigslist works best for us for lease option deals.
Yeah.
So Ivy, I'm sorry, he's asked the question like 3 times here. Oh, and my computer's frozen. I can't swipe for more questions. Can you hear me, Gavin?
Yeah, I can still see you. Hear you.
I think we might have. Oh, I can't scroll, Gavin. We got a ton of questions here. Maybe I can go to.
Maybe on your phone, I can't see anything question-wise.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm afraid to refresh the screen because I might lose everything. So I'm going to go to my. I'm going to go to my thingy here. I can't talk and type at the same time. My phone.
I'm trying to get back on live. Okay.
We had so many good questions in here, and for some reason. Oh, how do I mute this video? All right, I'll just turn the volume down. Stink, I can't.
I just turned it down.
I can't change my tabs either. All right, well, oh, smokes. All right, so let me just, I'm on my phone now just so you can see. So Ivy is saying it's about the down payment or deposit to receive the option to lease. I'm not sure I understand, Ivy. I'm sorry, bud. Okay. How current is the info on PropStream? Is this replacing ListSource? I still use ListSource and I use PropStream, to be honest. We get a significant savings with ListSource. But PropStream, I use it every day to like evaluate deals, to get property details on a property, and to get comps on a property, and to pull lists. So like you can't get lists from ListSource of vacant houses or liens. Okay. So that's one big reason why I like PropStream. And then also, oh, now that I can scroll them. Hallelujah. Okay. So, and Gavin, I might have lost you. You're getting a little fuzzy, but anyway.
No, I'm back.
So, yeah, okay, good. PropStream is good for getting property history on a particular property, comps and when it was last sold, the mortgage, any liens, what the property information about the property. They get that from county records and stuff like that. All right, good. This is from William. Can we market for buyers for wholesale leases and sandwich lease options? Yes, but I don't recommend marketing for buyers until you have a property under contract. Okay. And Williams is saying here, if you're using a Mac, it's got an issue with the mouse trackpad that does that to me. That might be it, but like I couldn't even open a new tab. You guys need more RAM for your computers. Maybe we do. But I'm on the biggest, most expensive laptop, Mac laptop, MacBook Pro that you can buy. So I'm pretty good here. And I shut down all my other apps. Okay. Okay, the book was from Richard. Never what? Never Split the Difference. Thank you, Jeremy. Never Split the Difference. Great book on sales. You got to read that. We buy houses in Atlanta. Do we have a payment plan for your coaching program? Just go to joemccall.com/apply. Put your information in there, and we'll talk to you about that. Yes, never split the difference. Thank you, Brad. Brad is saying daisy chaining is like stacking items together. Usually you have to go through the first one to get to the second, and so on and so on. Yeah, what we mean by that is like you've got a wholesaler who's got a wholesaler who's got a wholesaler who's got a wholesaler who has a buyer. And that's what you want to avoid.
Yep.
The best system for skimming Zillow for the rent listings posted by the owner. Whitey, I'd love to tell you that, but I'd have to kill you. No. I only give that link resource to my students. So if you have to get my course. Steve is asking here. I signed up with the VA company suggested in the Philippines on page 8 of module 2, outsourcing 101. You say just give the VAs our training videos. So I'm not sure. Yeah. So like any of my courses has training videos in them. So just send the VA those videos. Is it better to go for rural areas instead of urban areas for lease options to find motivated sellers quickly? Yeah, so like depends on the city that you're in, right? If you're in New York City, I'd recommend don't try to do anything in New York City. If you're in LA, I like, it depends. See, here's the cool thing about lease options. You have the entire United States in your backyard. So like what I would do is I'd pick 3 or 4 big cities and just like 1 week go after this city, the next week go after that city, then that one and that one, then circle around back and just cycle through those 3 or 4 cities. You will find more leads than you can handle. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Jeremy. I've marketed to an expired list. Someone reached out but has recently relisted their home with a realtor. How can you best discuss moving forward with the seller without stepping on the realtor's toes? Well, Jeremy, if you're licensed, there's not much you can do, but I would just send the seller an offer anyway and tell them, listen, this is an offer. If you want to do it through your realtor, fine. Go ahead and just give this to your agent and have your agent call me.
Yep.
Thomas, is there a tutorial on REI Simple to show how to email directly to your campaign using the unique address? Yes, it's super simple. Let me just show you real quick. Would you guys mind if I walk you inside of REI Simple? Let me share my screen with you. Gavin, can you see this?
Yep.
Let me hide the comments there. Okay, this is REI Simple. And everything is kind of starts and ends in campaigns. This is my demo account. So when you're in a campaign, like I created a campaign called Raleigh, North Carolina. And so there's an associated, you can have an associated phone number with that campaign. So anybody who calls that campaign, that phone number gets a lead added into there. But right here, you have this email to campaign. And so if you send an email to this email address, it will create a new lead inside that campaign. If you're familiar with Podio, this is similar to the email to app functionality that Podio had, right? So if you emailed anything to that email address will get added in as a new lead in this campaign. And you can view all your leads right here. Maybe one of these future coaching calls, I will do like a demonstration of REI Simple and show you how we do all of our marketing in here. Somebody was asking about when you're sending the SMS broadcasts, how do you do that? And, you have to click, like if I want to send 50 texts, I'll just get the list, categorize them, group them, and then create a text with merge fields in it and just go click, 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 click to 50, and then they're sent.
Yeah,
pretty simple. All right. I love me some REI Simple. Okay. Yes, Dolores, I white labeled Freedom Soft and I've customized it for lease options. I'm having trouble finding and training good virtual assistants. Is there training videos for VAs? Yes, in all of my courses, I usually include a bonus called Easy Outsourcing 101. And on there, we train you how to find, hire, and train your VAs. And in there, we also have videos that you can give to your VAs. But like if you have my Simple Lease Options course, just give them access to it and let them watch it. The first thing you do is you show them how to get to the training videos in REI Simple and let them get familiar with REI Simple. Gavin, Russell's asking, what did you end up paying for helping with the dead leads? What did you pay that investor for those leads?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We split deals. Nothing. Just building rapport. Again, positioning, right? That's why they wanted to give me dead ones, because they want to see what you're going to do, right? And then when you just go and earn them 50% of the deal, then they paid for marketing. And we did the same again. So I had an investor, 2 of them, well, I was working with 3 of them, but 2 of them were actively paying them for marketing for new leads, still doing the same thing, splitting deals.
It's a great question here from Mr. and Mrs. Carter. I'm sorry, Quashan. I see you mention your course a lot. I've been watching you for about 3 weeks to a month. I bought your Z Code course about a week and a half ago. Is that the course you're talking about, or is it the course you talk a lot about in the Simple Lease Options course? Z Code is just a course on how to get leads from Zillow. I have a course called Simple Lease Options. And if you want to get the webinar on that, just go to sloclass.com, sloclass.com. If you're interested in the Z Code, go to zcodejoe.com. And if you want my book, go to wlobook.com. I hate giving out so many links, so I'm sorry. I won't do that anymore. How much does my Simple Lease Options course cost? A lot. Yes, a demo of REA Simple Marketing would be awesome. I'm still being challenged getting through the workflow automation. So I do have, if you have my Simple Lease Options course, there is a demo in there on how to do REI Simple. And in the, make sure you watch the training tutorial videos because they're all in there. Okay. By the way, again, Patrick, I'm sorry, I'm just being funny. You go to sloclass.com and watch my webinar because I give you your money back. You get the money back. You don't even have to do a deal. Just go through step by step and set up your lease options business like I teach you in the course. And after you set it up within 6 months, I give you all your money back. It's a no-brainer offer. Nobody else is doing that in the real estate space. sloclass.com, okay? And again, if you guys are wondering, sloclass.com. But if you go to joemccall.com/apply, one more URL, and this is the main one we want to tell you guys about, you get all of my courses for free, all of them. And I have at least over $10,000 worth of courses that I've sold before that would have cost you $10,000 to get. You get all of them for free if you go to joemccall.com/apply. Okay. So go there right now. This is a long question here from Patrick. Please help me out. What do I do if you set up a sandwich lease option? You get the buyer within a 12-month option, and then when the buyer exercises his option, the original seller does not want to sell the house to me. It's a good question, but be careful with the what if questions, right? Because you can get really, really lost in a vicious downward spiral circle when you worry about what if questions. So what I would say is this: a couple things. When you first do the sandwich lease option with the seller, you're going to file a memorandum of option in the county court records for that house. You're going to cloud the title with a memorandum of option. Second thing is I like to sign a purchase and sale agreement with the seller. You don't have to. It's just extra safety. Sign a purchase and sale agreement with the seller. Third thing is I do a limited power of attorney. And you got to get an attorney to help you with this. But you can have the seller sign a limited power of attorney that kind of almost forces them to sell it in a couple of years. Because you could say, listen, what if you die or something happens or whatever? So that's kind of what you do. It's a contract. They have to sign it. They have to sell it. And if they don't, you can sue them, and you're going to win.
Yep.
Barbara, nobody starting out has $5,000 to market. Isn't that one of your questions to work with? It is one of the questions on our application is, do you have at least $5,000 over the next 3 months to invest in your business? And we're talking about marketing there. So it's not true that nobody does. But if that's too much for you, that's fine. This is probably not going to be a good fit. So that is one of our pre-screening questions.
Yep. And we have loads of good.
Nobody does.
We have loads of good free information to get you going.
Oh my gosh! Can I just show them what they can get? So, like, guys, real quickly, if you, I'm going to share my screen with you here. Have you heard of this podcast called Real Estate Investing Mastery? By the way,
maybe. I
just got 500 reviews in iTunes. I'm going to share my screen with you all here. This is so exciting. I got to share it with you. This is iTunes. If you do a search for Real Estate Investing Mastery, you'll see my podcast right there. Boom, baby. Check this out, Gavin. 502 reviews. Just past the 500 mark.
That's awesome.
So
with a
thanks, guys.
high percentage of 5-star.
Look at that. I don't know how well if you guys can see that or not, but so this podcast, like if you can't afford our coaching, I give so much free information in the podcast. Like this one, I did this on my front porch a few weeks ago, talking about thinking about freedom, and this is a really good podcast. I answer some common objections or questions about lease options, how to find a local XYZ title company, investor friendly realtor or whatever. Coaching call replays in here. I got over almost 800 episodes. How to make $25,000 on deals that wholesalers pass on. Purpose, focus, practice making offers, learn lease options from one page. I did 6-part series on that. Tons of good stuff. And if you go to YouTube, and if you go to, if you just go to joemccall.com, joemccall.com, I've got a bunch of videos on here that you can watch teaching you a bunch of good stuff. New way to profit from probates, how to do social media marketing, lots of interviews. You should check it out. Okay, so I got a bunch of free stuff. If coaching's not for you, totally cool. This is a real good podcast I did with Todd Toback, how to transform from a hustler to a real estate investor, business owner. It's a really good podcast with Toback. Okay, so we got a few more questions here, and then we're going to end it. What was the info about having a DBA? What credentials are you most have? The DBA, I understand, is a doing business as. It's like it's an LLC. So if you want to create an LLC, I recommend just going to like some of those websites that do it for you. LegalZoom.com, I think, is one of them. I work in an office on a naval base, so it's difficult to get to your website because it doesn't have HTTPS attached and it's not secure. So I'll visit your sites when I get off of work. You should be able to, like, if you go to Real Estate Investing Mastery, I have an S on there. HTTPS. So, but if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure, like on all my websites, if you put an S in it, it'll still work. So try that. Thomas is asking, what happened to the autoresponder feature in REI Simple? I need to find out. Somebody else asked me that question yesterday, and I think there might be a bug, something going on. I'm writing myself a note. So I will find out. But in the meantime, if you're an REI Simple customer, send an email to support@reisimple.com and ask them. Support@reisimple.com. Okay, just a couple more questions here. Got a lot of comments here. What is the PropStream advantage over REI Pro? We get a lot of this too. Like, and another one here is how do you populate PropStream to REI Simple? So PropStream, let me be very clear with this, is not a CRM, right? PropStream is a way you can get lists and you can do property research on a property. Okay, you still need a CRM to manage your leads. Now, there's some CRMs that give you lists, and so that's great if you want to use them. So you might have a CRM that does that. Like REI Simple will give you owner's information on properties. And you can also buy lists from REI Simple. But I just like PropStream. It gives me better comps. It's just more, it's better than any other CRM data that I've seen. Okay. Yeah. Does the VA perform any task where they know how much money I'm making? Yeah. So don't worry about VAs learning your business or learning how much you're making. Don't worry about that. Brad, in REI Simple, you have to click one for each text you send. You can't send mass text with one click. That's right. But as quickly as you can make 50 clicks, you can send 50 texts. That's why and how it stays compliant with anti-spam laws. And which answers this other question from Virtually On Call. There are laws about SMS. But again, we're getting these phone numbers from Craigslist and Zillow. So these are numbers that are being published already in Craigslist and Zillow. Yep. And we're contacting them about the house that they're advertising. And so there's no issue with that. Now, we're not doing mass texting where like we're sending thousands at once. It's like manual process one at a time. Calvin, yes, you're right. They're talking about issues with lawsuits. And big brokers like Keller Williams and others are getting huge lawsuits right now from cold calling. There's various reasons for that. Like these were people that were specifically on do not call lists. These were people that were specifically asked to be removed and they weren't removed. So yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah. It's just common sense. If someone says, don't contact me, don't keep sending them a message. You just have to, because that will be, if they're tracking that, that's how they will get you.
Yeah. We were recommending this. I don't have any relationship with them, but peoplelooker.com is a good site to use for like one-off skip tracing. And this may be illegal too. It may not be available anymore. I've heard like governments are really cracking down. The local U.S. government and state governments are really cracking down on privacy and stuff. It's pretty easy to skip trace people, and it's getting harder and harder. So just be aware of that. Patrick is saying ringless voicemail is now illegal in Florida. That may be true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good question. This is our last one. I'm losing great deals when sellers like my terms but need a second opinion from brokers or attorneys, and they advised against working with me. This is a good question, common question, Max. I'll just say this, and then Gavin, you can say something, and then we'll wrap it up. If a seller says to me, "Hey, listen, I want my attorney to review this," I say, "Great, not a problem." Yep. Let me just ask you something. If your attorney is fine with these contracts, would you be ready to sign a deal today? And I listen. And then I want to ask him more again. Well, what are some of the questions that you aren't feel comfortable with yet? Like, what are some of the things you don't feel comfortable with yet? A lot of times sellers will say that just to get you off the phone. It's a polite way to say no. And that's not, but you don't want to say, no, you can't have your attorney review my contracts. You can't say that, right?
Yeah.
But I would say things like, not a problem at all. I have no problem with sending my stuff to your attorney. Let me just ask you a question first. If they say, yeah, this is good, will you sign an agreement today? And with that kind of a question, you really get to the heart of the matter of like what their main objection is. It's usually that's not their real concern. It's something else. They're concerned about something else, and you want to find out, dig deep into what that is. You want to add to that, Gavin?
No, you're exactly right. What you just said. There's normally just there's a boundary of something else, and it's the easy get out to push you onto that. So you have to find out what the core problem is. Maybe they don't want to do it. They're not comfortable. Whatever. There's definitely something. It's not normally that. And if they do go to that and come back, I normally use things like, well, I'm sure, your attorney's going to pay your mortgage next month. Is he concerned about that? Is he going to pay it? Yeah, and then see, well, yeah, he's not going to pay it. Well, yeah, maybe you should listen to him then. That one line that he wants to change that I'm not changing. But why don't you call him back and see if he's going to pay the mortgage next month when you're still with the property. You just have to use things like that sometimes. But again, personality,
like if they say my realtor says I shouldn't do this or whatnot, I'd say, listen, that's cool. I understand. I don't want you to tell you do something your realtor's saying not to do, but is your realtor going to make your mortgage payments next month if this house doesn't sell? Is your property manager going to make the repairs themselves and cover the repairs themselves if there's some repairs in the future? With my lease option, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I'm probably not going to work for you, and that's totally fine. But like the way I structure my deals, I take care of all the maintenance and repairs and the vacancies. Does your mortgage broker or does your realtor or property manager do that? Does your attorney do that? So anyway, just pull away.
Yep.
Real quick, guys, I want to ask you, what do you think? What do you think of this training? Will Dodd says, great training. Thank you very much. Juliet says, thanks, Joe and Gavin. Dynamic duo. Sharon, time well spent. Thank you, Gavin and Joe. Let us know what you guys think real quick as we wrap this up. I just appreciate seeing the nice comments. And I want to just tell you guys again one more time, if you're interested in working with me and Gavin, getting this kind of help and advice on a daily basis, where you can send us a Voxer and we can answer. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look at those good-looking guys. Where you can we can actually answer your questions on Voxer. You come out and hang with us for a couple of days in St. Louis. We'll set up your business, set up your systems, do your marketing for you, set it up with you, partner with you on deals if you want. Get somebody to hold your hand so you can avoid making big, costly mistakes. It's just really the fastest and easiest way to do deals is to partner with somebody who's been there, done that, right? And we work with clients all over the country. We've done deals all over the country. We're doing deals in multiple states right now. I've done deals in probably a total, if you were to count them all up, 8 to 10 different states myself. So we have a lot of experience doing deals, and we also know a lot of people that are doing deals. And this may be a good fit for you, maybe not, but we'd love to chat with you guys. Brad is saying, really enjoyed it. Very informative. Thanks for answering questions. Thanks, Brad. Michelle, I came in late, but thanks tons.
Thank you.
Gwen, I enjoy how real you are. Appreciate that. Stanley, thank you. Love the training. Appreciate it. Kimberly, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We Buy East Atlanta. He or she's been with us a long time. Great show, guys. Thanks. Alex, great job. Pear, great job. Thank you. Sean. Oh, this is a Co4. So is a tenant buyer responsible? No, I didn't mean to bring that up, but the big ticket things, the seller is still responsible for.
Yeah.
Sean, outstanding, guys. Please keep this up. Milton, I really appreciate the time you give to all of us. Thank you. You're welcome. Peter, thanks, guys. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you, Carla.
Yeah.
Can you answer my the one with the tenant? So like the big things like that, you could get a home warranty, get an extended home warranty, but the seller is going to be responsible for the big things. You're just responsible for the things under $500, which then you're passing on to the tenant buyer. So the tenant buyer is responsible for that.
Yeah.
Moises, great stuff. Thank you.
One thing as well, just want to add, guys, especially when we do a session like this, we have a lot of questions, so we cover a lot. It's super easy to go shiny object mode. We don't help the process of that because we're talking about multiple systems. We're talking about strategies, talking to sellers, positioning. There's a lot of information subject to lease options, all of it cash. Just stay focused and don't keep hopping for the new thing. They all work, right? So find your lane, dedicate to that time, to that strategy, and then work the other ones in, right? As you learn and grow. You never want to stop one that works to implement another. You have to do it as an addition. So any wholesalers that are with us, that you're doing 4 or 5 deals, don't stop wholesaling. No. Start doing lease options with it, okay, to get more deals done. So yeah, just watch the shiny objects and stay super focused, all right? And like Joe said, come and join us. There's no push sell with us. We find out what's going on in your business. What are you doing now? Can we help you? Do you actually need the help? Some people, we just say, you don't need help. You don't need our help. You're already doing it. Just do this, and go and do it. So we just want to work with the right people. So there's no push sell. So if you're interested, let's get on the phone. And if not, hopefully you've enjoyed the session. Yeah, this is good. Appreciate you all very much. Those of you listening on the podcast, Real Estate Investing Mastery, thanks for listening. Leave us a review in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Leave us a review. Let us know that you like the show. We'd really, really appreciate it. And thanks all for the kind words. Again, go to joemccall.com/apply. joemccall.com/apply. We have a place where you can apply to work with us as a private client, but there's also a lot more on that page. You can watch some case study videos on how we do deals. We interview students that are doing deals, and you see a lot of these really amazing gold nuggets. On that page as well, we look at about 3 or 4 deals. We evaluate the deals, and we show you what we would offer and what we wouldn't offer. And then we also answer a ton of questions, about 60-something questions on that page as well. There's a bunch of really good content videos on there. Just go to joemccall.com/apply. Scroll down on that page and you'll see all those case study videos in there. You're going to get a lot of valuable information in there. Okay. If you want to watch the replay of this, you can watch it on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook page. Go check that out. Or this will also be soon a podcast at Real Estate Investing Mastery. Hey, thanks again, Gavin. Thanks everybody for being on the show. This has been fun. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.